This is James's meal for today. It's tilapia with some mixed vegetable stuff and baked potato. And I'm just going to cover it up so the flies don't get at it, because boy, they love fish. And I'm going to talk about this burger, which is really, really high in saturated fat, but it's delicious. And that's what James had, the vegetables on the side. And I didn't microwave it. I just dumped it out of the bag and fried it. And I'm going to be talking about Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and then the Ref and the Tree of Life. And James is going to review a Waterton book. It's called Popular Day Hikes, Waterton. And I don't know, do you want me to just put your food inside, James? Because, yeah, these flies just really want it. So, sorry about that. You can go on and talk about the day hikes then.
Okay. I could talk about Will, #1 bestseller, the autobiography of G. Gordon Liddy. Here's his physiognomy, or Phiz, as Charles Dickens might have had it back in the day. It's publishing, let's say, circa 1850. I think he started maybe 1837 with Pickwick Papers. And he went on for decades. But we'll look at Popular Day Hikes by in Waterton by Andrew Nugara, kind of name. But I'll let you talk about the movies first.
Okay. So Shazam, Fury of the Gods. This was interesting because I was writing a poem. I went on a hike on Sunday and I saw this tree that was just loaded with birds. And I couldn't see all the birds, but I could certainly hear them. I knew they were there. And occasionally I'd see one fly and whatever. But they were congregated in this one huge tree. And so I took a video. I thought, well, I can't really see the birds, but if I take a video, maybe I'll be able to see it on the computer screen, right? Instead of my little camera display. So, and sure enough, I could see some. And then at one point I made a noise after, it must have been turning off the camera or something. It makes a beep and it usually scares the birds away when I record. But anyway, birds just dispersed from the tree, right? So I knew there were huge amounts in there. And anyway, so I went to the library and I uploaded the video onto YouTube, and then I was starting to write a blog post because I put the videos on my blog, and I realized that what I was writing lines to describe the tree, and I realized, oh, I'm writing a poem. It's in iambic pentameter. And so I started laying it out like a poem, and I got about 6 lines, and I'm like, I really don't want to be sitting at the library writing poetry, you know. I'll finish it at home, and I haven't yet. But while I was at the library, like, I closed that down and stuff, I saved what I had, and I went to take out 2 movies. Well, I borrowed 3 for James to watch, but they were ones that I wouldn't watch at all. And the 2 that I'd already had this one out, and the 2 that I borrowed were the top one and the bottom one. So as it turns out, like, I didn't know anything about them. When I saw this, the title, The Tree of Life, because I titled my poem Tree of Life, and that's what the blog post will be titled, I thought, well, I have to get this out because this is, maybe my angels want me to watch this movie or something, right? Given that it has the same title on the day that I'm writing this poem called Tree of Life. So anyway, I got home and I watched. This one was terrible. It had good acting in it, and I shouldn't say it was terrible, but I really, there was too much art, and there was story to go along with it, but not laid out in a good enough way to make anybody want to watch it. And on the back here it says something about, where was that? Well, anyway, there's a new extended version of the film included in this, featuring an additional 50 minutes of footage. 50 minutes. And, you know, at first I'm reading that, and it didn't really dawn on me that that might be a bad thing. But I watched the movie, and it's 139 minutes, it says on the back. And honestly, it felt way longer. I can't imagine an extra 50 minutes of that. I mean,
2 hours.
There was a lot of beauty in that, like, anyway. And I kind of get the whole tree of life thing, but wow.
With the extra
Anyway,
stuff, it'd be 3 hours and 9 minutes of it.
so I watched that one first, bottom of the stack, and then I watched Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and for this to get top of the stack, that's some pretty sad stuff. I was thinking, should I put this? But this is just so cheesy. How can I put this on the top of the stack? So anyway, somehow this got top of the stack, and it, as it turns out, it is also about the Tree of Life. So I picked out 2 Tree of Life movies on the day that I'm writing a poem, Tree of Life, and I find that interesting. And so I don't exactly know what it's supposed to mean, and perhaps maybe I will get clarification. I don't know, but all I know is that I had a really great time hiking yesterday in nature, and I look forward to doing it again on Friday.
So what about Shazam?
Oh, what about it?
It was okay.
Oh,
I didn't realize
yeah.
there were lots of Shazams. They're all roughly in the same uniform. It's kind of boring, isn't it?
Well,
That's one of the things. I mean, they're kind of like on a catwalk, wearing different. That's the whole thing with superheroes, right? They've got to have a different, like Robin back in the day, or Batman or whatever, different costumes.
well, they kind of have
Personalized.
powers, maybe. Like they're personalized people. They're very different characters. So I don't know. I didn't really have a problem with it. But honestly, I mean, it's aimed at 10 to 12-year-old boys, really. So
It could be. It looks as though there's a lot of so-called diversity. Is this guy diverse too?
what, I don't know. But I mean, Helen Mirren was in it, and she's great. And
That's her then?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So she's the token white, is she?
No,
Okay. I'm just kidding.
I don't think they were doing that. Anyway,
I'm getting
I don't care.
tired because what's happening is they don't talk about it, but I'll talk about it later after you finish dealing with
The
this
ref.
token Irish idiot. I'm part Irish, so don't take it.
he doesn't like
Personally.
Dennis Leary, I guess. But you're not
I'm not
actually
impressed
supposed to
with
like
that.
Dennis Leary that much in this. He's a criminal. And
Oh.
the story is not believable at all, which I guess is why it ended up in the middle and not at the top above Shazam, even though I don't care about stupid superhero movies for the most part. But anyway, this has Judy Davis and Kevin Spacey in it, and I love Kevin Spacey. But the movie is just kind of silly. I mean, there's this criminal. At first you hear that they've shut down roads and stuff like that to try to catch this burglar. And it's like, and one of the characters actually says something about it. They shut down roads to catch a burglar? Like they wouldn't do that. Nobody, why would they shut down roads to catch like serious
Murder.
Yeah.
We
not
went through that.
burglars.
They didn't really shut the road down, but they were
that was
looking
interesting.
for. I think it was a murderer, right?
Yeah,
And
they didn't
were
say
probably
that they were
doing-
looking for him, but that's the only time that's happened, and it was on the radio. So
I said to the cop, I rolled down the window. Don't do the George Floyd thing and open the door up.
Yeah.
You know? And I
might
was kind of showing
get
my
yourself in
hands and
trouble.
stuff like that. But well, he
They
got
weren't
himself
looking
in
for
trouble.
us.
Anyway, I said, so you're looking for, so, oh, no, don't lie to me, you know.
Yeah, what else would they
I
be
didn't
doing?
say that to
And it
him.
was all
I
over
was
the radio.
nice and pleasant.
So anyway, there's this guy. He's a burglar, and in the end, they're like, "Oh yeah, there's a reward for $100,000 for you or whatever, but we're not going to turn you in. Here you go. We're going to get you out of here." Why? Why? I don't
Run that by me
understand that.
again.
Yeah,
They're
they
getting who out of where?
They tried to get. They decided they were going to help the criminal and not take the $100,000 reward for turning him in.
Oh.
And even though he's tied them up and taken over their house and whatever, they're just like, oh yeah, we'll help you out. Christmas spirit, whatever. I don't know. It's silly. So silly movies.
Kind of like Dennis Leary. Yeah, he first came to my attention when one of my relatives, pretty close relatives, said, "Hey, you got to see this movie." So it's kind of like stand-up comedy, or it's supposed to be stand-up comedy. He was standing up, so it didn't work out to be stand-up comedy. What was his? Anyway, he was standing up. I emphasize that. Anyway, it was basically, as I recall, all it was about was a rant about smoking. And you know, like
well, when
you should hear me
smokers
rant
weren't
about
allowed
smoking.
to go into restaurants and smoke and whatever, schools and smoke, classrooms, then I mean there were a lot of smokers who were really chaffed about that,
including
right?
my close relative. And so I had to sit through this guy, and I kind of had to be kind of semi-approving or something like that. But it wasn't even good humor or anything like that.
No.
And it's amazing. Like Ellen DeGeneres, they had her on a sample of her stuff on CBC.
Oops,
I guess she's doing stand-up again or something.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe
I thought
this
she had a
wasn't-
show. Why is she doing stand-up?
Well, I think she gave it up, or she had to give it up, or something like that.
Weird.
Anyway, this might have been from the flyers. Anyway, she says, "Man," maybe she didn't say man, but I want to talk about crazy driving. And I'm going, all right, I want to hear Ellen DeGeneres really because there's so much crazy driving. Can't you just stand, the usual stand-up stuff. Can't you just stand? I can't stand it. It's usually they're standing up, but they can't stand. I just can't stand drivers who drive too slow. Oh man. No, you're not talking about me. She shouldn't be, because I try to be the most boring driver on the road. In other words, I try to drive the limit. Now, there's way too many people who find that not boring. And that's because they want to go fast. So they're tailgating, then they'll pass me at speed, and then they'll cut me off. And every so occasionally they'll honk and all this sort of stuff. So I try to be the most boring driver on the road. I don't like going under the speed limit. So she might have been talking about me, because don't you just hate it, or I just can't stand it, or whatever. People drive, and she goes on and on and on. And I'm going, oh man, wake me up. Same sort of thing with this aggrieved smoker. Like he just went on and on about how he was bummed about not being able to smoke here and there and everywhere. Freedom.
Okay, you only have 7-8 minutes to talk about Waterton, so go ahead.
Okay.
Talk about the book.
Anyway, lose your breath, hurt your sides funny.
No, none of these were worth watching.
So, 7 minutes to talk about Waterton. We were at Waterton, and we weren't really concentrating on hiking or walking. It's stuff that we've done before. And we kind of combined 2 walks. So, getting close to June, we went to the most famous flower walk, I guess, in Waterton. It doesn't have worldwide fame or anything like that, but
No, but we think it's overrated.
it's called Bellevue. Well,
Yeah.
we don't know because
it's nice.
It wasn't exactly
But
June.
we prefer Horseshoe to Bellevue.
Well, we didn't know. What happened was the Horseshoe kind of starts up where Bellevue ends halfway. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not it's a return trip, not a circle trip. What's the round trip?
I'm going to say this
Yeah.
book is beautiful.
Bellevue.
The photographs in this Popular Day Hikes Waterton book, amazing.
So it's largely about. Now, the one good thing about this is it's complete. It's got, well, not totally complete,
No.
but it's got pretty well anything that if you're a sensible person, you'd want to walk. But the important thing is it's got walks for families. You have walks for people who are in a wheelchair and stuff like that, all the way up to anything a sensible person would be thinking about pulling the plug on. So I had to pull a plug on a walk last year. They talk about it, and I had to pull the plug on a what he characterizes as a modest scramble. Anything he describes as a scramble, I'm going is too much for me. Now there'd be young and fit people who might be able to handle the stuff. What did you think of Akamina? Pauline,
I
continue.
don't know if I went a wrong way. I can't say, because there was one point where I was like pulling myself up on chest high boulders, and I'm like, okay,
what was
this
behind
can't
you?
possibly nothing. I'd fall down and I'd be like down way at the bottom of the mountain. So
100-foot drop maybe.
So anyway, there
100
was
meters.
after that I was like shaking, and well, you can hear the.
She's not making it
I'm
up.
not making it up. You can hear me singing, and you can hear that in my voice that I was pretty shaken up by getting up there. Now, once you're up there, it's easy. You just follow along whatever, and you're fine. Yeah.
So long as
But
it's not windy.
as long as it's not windy, yeah. If you do it in the wind, you're stupid. But
or if it's,
anyway.
if you're up there.
But we're talking about this book, and honestly, it's the kind of book, if you want to get somebody interested in going hiking to Waterton with you, give them that book. Because the pictures are so beautiful, they will want to go.
Maybe I'll show, what is it? I'll show Bellevue.
Whatever. But,
Bellevue
I mean, you could show anything. They're beautiful. And the guy did such a good job taking these pictures. But for me, I don't really need something like that. So I would prefer to get a flower book, a flower identification book, like the one I've been showing you about Waterton to get. It's awesome. And then you'll learn the flower names, as well as, I mean, the trails are well marked. You could pick up the information as to, to where the trailheads are from the visitor center for free. So you don't really need to get a book for yourself to figure out where to go in Waterton. You can look at the Parks Canada website, and they have a lot of descriptions of the trails, including where the waterfalls are and everything like that, So if you look at that, you don't need a book like this. So as far as I'm concerned, the only use for a book like this would be if you wanted to convince somebody to go hiking with you.
So there's, the exposed layers of rock in the east face of Bellevue Hill are some of the most striking and colorful in the park. And if you come from many places in the world, you're saying that looks like a mountain, and that's what I characterize it as, but it's called a hill. And of course there are higher mountains behind it and to the side of it as well. But that's amazing. You're looking at layers of red and green argillite, and the green really stands out. I don't know if they cook the books by making the colors more dramatic, but I'm telling you, you can
awesome.
look at some of the photos in here, like they're showing Waterton Lake, and you can see every wave. 2.5.
No, you still have some time, like maybe a couple and a half.
Okay.
Maybe a couple.
There we go. So this actually comes, if you want a summary of, it has a pretty good rating. Just so long as you understand, when you see modest scramble, you're going to be exposed to some risk. Like Akamina Ridge. Okay, maybe the trouble is
But
when
the
you
maps
get
are
up.
great. I mean, you have the, what are they called, the ISO lines or whatever?
Yeah.
So you can tell like how steep you're going up the trail. Because if they're really close together, you're really going up, right?
So
that's good to have.
what we'll look at Goat Lake Trail. And here's a 7.26 pound
Very
chihuahua
sweet.
that made it up to the top of Newman Peak. So when we got up to the col past Goat Lake Trail, towards Avian Ridge to the left, Newman Peak is off to the right. So it's I don't know if it's Newman Peak. That would be maybe 100, definitely more than 100 meters higher than where we were at. That's where the dust
we learned
devils
something
were
new
coming.
because they say, the authors of this book say that Lost Horse, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That one's a good hike. It's like they say you just follow along the, I guess the what do you call that? The canyon?
It would be kind of like a canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
A little
walk
bit like
it.
Red Rock Canyon, only
But
not as dramatic.
I don't know. I have heard that it damages the rocks, like that you really shouldn't go down into Red Rock Canyon and stuff because it damages the rocks. I don't know. They don't stop people though. People always do it.
It's erosion. I mean, there's more where it came from. It just widen it up and stuff like that. So it's a different kind of erosion. So I'll show you where we were at, and you can see what the ISO lines are like. So contour lines, whatever you want to call them. When we got up Goat Lake, it really is like 780 meters. I've been exaggerating. I said 650 to 750. I was adding it up today. It's 500 meters up to Goat Lake, and then it's 280 more just